When a ballerina meets the man of her dreams, it sounds like a fairy tale, doesn't it? The elegance, the romance, the perfect love story. But what if that fairy tale, full of hope and beauty, turns into something much darker? Something that no one could have predicted. This is the story of Ashley Byers, a model, ballerina, and political activist, and Doug Benefield, a religious widower and former military man. Their relationship begins with the promise of love but quickly spirals into a twisted tale filled with secrets, manipulation, and tragedy. It starts as a whirlwind romance, but it ends with gunshots, courtroom drama, and a man's death. Is Ashley Byers a white swan, the victim of cruel manipulation, or is she something far darker, a woman hiding behind a facade, using her charm to control those around her? This story is not one with obvious heroes, and it will leave you questioning who is truly to blame. You're watching Sinister Threads, and today we're diving into a story that will keep you at the edge of your seat, a story that's almost too incredible to believe. Ashley Byers was more than just a ballerina, she was a woman with big dreams and an even bigger drive. A model and a dancer, she had been a part of the prestigious Maryland Youth Ballet. But she wasn't just about the spotlight. Ashley was also a politically active woman, working for Donald Trump's campaign. In fact, she had even flown on his private jet. Ashley's life seemed full of excitement and glamour. In her personal journal, she revealed the personal side of her encounters with the rich and powerful, even noting that Trump had called her a bombshell, my girl, and baby. But it was at a dinner party in August 2016 that everything began to change. It was here that Ashley met 54-year-old Douglas Benefield. At the time, she was just 24, and Doug, a former Navy officer, was a religious widower with a 15-year-old daughter named Eva. The two hit it off instantly. Doug, having recently lost his wife, was looking for someone to fill the void in his life, and he saw Ashley as the perfect person, pure, innocent, and beautiful. Within just 13 days of meeting her, Doug proposed to Ashley. It was a whirlwind romance, and though Ashley had her doubts, she accepted his proposal. Doug's friend and pastor, Trip Corman, was concerned about the rapid pace of the relationship. Still, he officiated their wedding, and they tied the knot soon after. But things weren't as perfect as they seemed. The age gap between Ashley and Doug's daughter, Eva, created tension. Eva, still reeling from the loss of her mother, was devastated to see her father marry again so quickly. What Doug hoped would bring healing to their family only brought more conflict and resentment. Doug, desperate to make his new wife happy, did everything he could to support Ashley's dreams. He helped her launch the American National Ballet, an inclusive company that featured dancers of all shapes, sizes, and backgrounds. It seemed like everything was falling into place, but behind closed doors, things were falling apart. Ashley's pregnancy added another layer of complexity to their troubled marriage. Tensions between her and Doug's daughter, Eva, escalated. Eva refused to accept Ashley as her stepmother. It was clear that the new family dynamic wasn't working. And to make matters worse, Doug and Ashley's relationship became increasingly volatile. One night, during an argument, Doug fired a gun into the ceiling, a moment that hinted at the rising violence in their home. It seemed as though nothing was going right. Ashley's pregnancy became difficult. In an attempt to escape the toxic environment, she went to Florida to stay with her mother. But when she returned to Maryland weeks later, it wasn't to reconcile with Doug, it was with a letter accusing him of abuse and control. In the letter, Ashley expressed fear for her life and the safety of her unborn child. The breakup that followed was nothing short of brutal. Doug begged Ashley to come back, but it was too late. His company, his money, and his relationship with Eva, everything he had worked for was slipping away. Ashley even accused Doug of poisoning her and his late wife, Renee. But no concrete evidence ever surfaced to back up her claims. Then, in 2018, their daughter was born. However, Ashley did not list Doug as the father on the birth certificate. Doug's only opportunity to see his child came in the courtroom, where he fought for visitation rights. Despite the animosity, the two began to reconcile, and Ashley moved back to Maryland. Things seemed to be improving, but deep down, the cracks were still there. September 27, 2020. It seemed like a normal day. Doug was helping Ashley pack her things as they prepared to move once again. Her mother and daughter had gone out for a walk, leaving Doug and Ashley alone in the house. But that day would end in tragedy. A neighbor heard yelling, followed by silence. Moments later, Ashley appeared, holding a gun. She claimed that she had shot her husband. When police arrived at the scene, Doug was still alive, but he died just an hour later at the hospital. His death was ruled a homicide. Ashley claimed it was an act of self-defense. She said that Doug had become violent, and she was forced to protect herself. However, the evidence didn't align with her story. The only weapon in the house was in Ashley's hands, and she had only a small, old scratch on her arm. Forensic experts determined that Doug was shot from behind and hadn't even been facing Ashley when the gun went off. 5 weeks later, Ashley was arrested and charged with second-degree murder. She pled not guilty to the charges. As of today, Ashley Byers lives with her mother and daughter, awaiting her day in court. The trial is still to come, and the outcome remains uncertain. The story of Ashley Byers and Doug Benefield is not just another crime case. It's a tale of love, manipulation, fear, and desperation, a story that explores how the perfect marriage can quickly spiral into a nightmare. It's a stark reminder that fairy tales are often not what they seem. The truth can be far darker than we expect. White Swan, or something more sinister? Who is Ashley, really? And what drove her to this tragic end? Now, the court will decide. The pieces are in place, and we, the audience, are left to watch, shocked by the depth of this human drama and wondering what the final verdict will be. If this story struck a chord with you, leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe for more true crime stories like this one. And remember, sometimes the prettiest masks hide the darkest truths. Keep watching, and stay curious.